They thought Pistachio just wanted attention at bedtime. They misunderstood everything. Ren Castellano Abubakar had never expected a bird to become the most reliable alarm system in her house. Pistachio, their cockatiel, had lived in the nursery corner for 2 years. Calm, quiet, mostly decorative in the way pet birds can become once the novelty wears off. Then, the week her son Idris turned 11 months old, Pistachio started flying to the crib rail every night at bedtime and screeching loud and insistent until someone came in to deal with him. He's jealous of the baby, Ren's mother said over video call, watching the bird pace along the rail, feathers slightly puffed, calling out in short repeated bursts. Birds do that. He probably feels replaced. It made a certain kind of sense. Pistachio had been the only child in the house for years before Idris arrived, and jealousy in pets after a new baby was common enough that Ren had read about it during her pregnancy. She started closing the nursery door earlier each night, moving Pistachio's cage further from the crib, trying to retrain what she believed was simple sibling rivalry. It didn't work. If anything, it got worse. By night 4, Pistachio wasn't just calling from the rail. He was doing something that unsettled her more than the noise ever had. He'd bob his head low, close to the mattress near Idris's face, and repeat a single sharp note over and over, refusing to fly off even when she opened the cage door and offered him his favorite treat from across the room. He's never done the head-bobbing thing before, her husband Theodore said, standing in the doorway on night 5. That's not attention-seeking. That's something else. Ren, who worked in event logistics and had no particular background in animal behavior, had built her whole understanding of the situation around the jealousy theory because it was the explanation that required the least from her. Move the cage, ignore the noise. Wait it out. She hadn't wanted to consider that a small bird might be responding to something she couldn't perceive at all. By night 6, she'd started sleeping on the nursery floor just to keep Pistachio quiet enough for everyone to rest, telling herself this was a temporary management strategy rather than admitting, even to herself, how unsettled she'd become. On night 7, she woke at 3 a.m. to Pistachio screeching at a pitch she'd never heard from him, wings half spread, entire body angled toward the crib in obvious distress. She sat up, disoriented, and noticed, for the first time because she'd finally stopped to actually notice instead of reacting on autopilot, a faint chemical smell in the room. Sharp. Wrong. Not there the night before. She got Idris out of the crib immediately, still groggy, and carried him into the hallway before the thought had even fully formed. It was Theodore, checking the baseboard heater in the corner of the nursery minutes later, who found the source. A cracked seal on the small gas fireplace insert that backed onto the nursery wall, leaking almost undetectably into the room each night as the unit cycled on to keep the house warm. The emergency inspection that followed confirmed carbon monoxide levels in the nursery had been climbing steadily for the better part of a week, low enough each night to avoid triggering the household detector's alarm threshold, but building, exactly the kind of slow accumulation that experts warn is hardest to catch because it never announces itself all at once. Birds are exceptionally sensitive to airborne toxins, the technician told them, checking his reading again. Historically, they were used specifically because they show distress at concentrations far below what triggers human symptoms, let alone standard detectors. If he's been reacting at the same time every night, that's not jealousy. That's a bird telling you something was in the air, consistently for days. Ren sat with Idris in the hallway long after the technician left, replaying the week. Pistachio at the crib rail, not jealousy, but proximity to the one place in the house where the leak concentrated most. The head bobbing directly over Idris's face, not rivalry, but a small animal doing everything in his limited vocabulary to say something was wrong exactly where the baby slept. 7 nights of screeching she'd tried to manage instead of investigate, right up until the smell finally became strong enough for a human nose to register what a bird had been announcing all along. They fixed the seal within the day. Pistachio's cage went back to its normal spot in the corner, and he never repeated the behavior again, not because he'd been retrained, but because there was, finally, nothing left in that room for him to warn anyone about.